start, I know just speaking to residents in the community, that live stream picks up everything. Yeah, I know. And one of the issues that keeps coming up is that a lot of us, or some of us, are always on our cell phones. I just ask you to, I know I have mine up here, but just try to limit it because a lot of people are watching and, if we're only here 60, 120 minutes, 180 minutes, it's not a long time, so just respect that, please. Okay, call to order. Before I do that, I want to acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq First Nation. Donna, before I call to order, is Deputy Mayor Yankoff, is she on the line?
Yes, she is.
Okay, can you hear us? Okay. So call to order. Any declarations of conflict of interest? Okay, approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor, one second, Councillor Duran.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. I sent an email around there last week looking to add a couple of things to the agenda, but I'd like to add 6 items to the agenda here if possible. I would like to have a vote by council to publicly release an unredacted copy of the BDO report. My second request is a vote by council to have a public meeting to discuss the BDO report. Third is a vote by council to investigate the 11 items noted in the BDO report, but not investigated by BDO. And a vote to investigate the issues reported by the last DCAO. I'd also like a vote to conduct a cost-benefit analysis of legal services to provide information when it's time to go to tender. And my last one is a vote to obtain all documents related to one of the paving issues noted in the BDO report and make them available to the public. I'm wondering if I could add this to the agenda.
Councillor Duran,
Yep.
you to get my email?
Yeah, I got your email, yeah.
Sunday, the 12th of March, Section 20, items added by council, subsection 20.1, notwithstanding Section 19 of this bylaw, the council shall not vote on a motion arising out of an item added to the agenda by a member until a staff report and recommendation is received from the appropriate standing committee. And I sent that to you referring to the standing committee responsible for this issue that you're speaking to, finance, auditing, tendering, and administration as per the terms of reference. I note 2, to advise and make recommendations on the preparation of council information for all public meetings, recording and distribution of related information. Secondly, to advise and make recommendations to ensure the consideration of all information and protection of privacy requirements. So I've already sent that to you, and I think it's going back to the committee. That's why I CC'd everybody, all the councillors in the email. So I would leave it there and...
Point of order.
Go ahead.
Okay. This is not a finance committee issue. This BDO report didn't come up under finance. It came up under council.
Correct.
We had a council meeting about this. Council, discussed this.
Correct.
We voted on it. So this is not the place for it to go back to a certain committee because a committee, puts forth recommendations. This is a council issue.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So
could I have a point of order?
BDO is an auditing firm, correct? They did the audit on this, a forensic audit. I think that would be the most appropriate standing committee, finance, audit, tendering, and administration.
Like I said, point of order.
Listen to
Why is it going back to a committee when this is a council issue? This doesn't come under a committee issue.
Not, again, Section 20, items added by council, subsection 20.1, notwithstanding Section 19 of the bylaw, the council shall not vote on a motion arising out of an item added to the agenda by a member until a staff report and recommendation is received from the appropriate standing committee. Do you not recall the issue that we had with the enterprise fleet management, how we had to backtrack that? That's what I'm trying to avoid here. So I would expect you or ask you to respect the procedural bylaw that governs us.
Well, I respect the procedure bylaw that governs us, but I just don't believe that this should go back to finance. Can I add this for the agenda for next month's meeting?
You can add it to the finance, audit, tender, and administration.
So can we get a legal opinion on this? Should it go back to
We'll
finance?
get a legal opinion. Mr. Forbes, could you take that back to Cox Palmer to get a legal opinion? Good?
Well, he can't give us one now?
Nope.
Okay, like you talk about being open and transparent,
I am.
right? So
I
you're
am.
putting this back to a committee
And that committee will
rather
do,
than council.
and that committee will do it in an open, transparent, accountable meeting. It will be an open meeting of that standing committee.
But you can't do it today for
I
for
would,
council.
I want to respect the process that's outlined in the procedural bylaw.
Okay, then,
Councilor Twill?
thank you.
I want to rise to speak about the process as well.
Yeah.
I have to agree with Councilor Jerome that when we decided to embark upon a forensic audit, I was the one that called for the forensic audit, and I did it here in front of all the council.
Yeah.
Like this, at no time, you drew the analogy of fleet management back to finance, because that's where fleet management was being initiated from. This was not initiated from the Finance Committee. This was initiated, discussed, and voted on by all members of council, discussed by all members of council, here with all members of council. This wasn't a recommendation, or wasn't a suggestion, or any notes, or any discussions whatsoever at the Finance Committee. In fact, Mr. Mayor, I'll even challenge you on the fact that this was never discussed at Finance. This was discussed by all members of City Council. So, I respectfully have to disagree. I think this needs to be discussed here at all members of council, and to have those discussions, because as you know, there's a lot of discussions out there in the community. The community is asking questions. They want the report released in its entirety. They're not in favor of the report being redacted or covered up, or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of apprehension in the community, and I appreciate you saying that we want to be open, transparent, and accountable. I think everyone in this room feels the same way, but I agree with Councillor Duran that those discussions, whether it be preliminary discussions, wherever we're at, in any one of those issues that he brought up, should be discussed by all members of council. I don't agree to refer it back to a standing committee, because it was never discussed at a standing committee.
Thank you, Councilor Twill. Go ahead.
So Section 39(1), whenever a member wishes to appeal any ruling of the presiding officer, or a point of order or point joint of privilege to the whole council pursuant to 112 of the MGA Act, the motion of appeal shall be made immediately after the ruling is made by the presiding officer, or otherwise the ruling will be final. So I want to appeal your decision.
You're welcome to do that.
Okay?
So you're moving it, and it's seconded by, you'll need a second to appeal that decision.
Okay?
Okay? So it's moved and second to appeal the decision of the presiding officer, correct?
Could I have a seconder?
Councilor Twill's the seconder.
Okay? Thank you.
Okay. So I have to have a question called on allowing these 6 items to stay on the agenda, or to be put on the agenda, or to go back to the standing committee. Councilor McCabe.
Thank you. And it's more just, I think, from what I'm understanding, and we've run into these problems before, sometimes when things are at standing committee, they never ever make it to the council floor. So I tend to agree that we did initially discuss most of these decisions as a full council, and I would be comfortable bringing it back to council. And I think Councillor Duran indicated, I don't know if tonight would be the proper time to do that, only because we have our full council package, but maybe it is something we add to our next special meeting of council to discuss, because I don't see it vetting through committees when it was a discussion that we did have as a full council here.
Okay. Question, Collins? On the resolution to override the presiding officers? Oh, Councillor Beck.
Can you clarify what we're voting on here?
We're
Because
clar-
I'm unsure. We went through a process. Councillor Ron is appealing your decision.
Not to put it on the agenda.
So are we now voting on,
We're voting on overruling the presiding officer's decision not to put it on the agenda
Ever or tonight?
tonight. Because I've asked, using the procedural bylaw, subsection 20.1, to send it back to the Standing Committee for Finance, Tendering, and Administration. And Councillor Tweel may say that it started here, but in terms of discussing it, I think it's a financial matter that has to go back to the Standing Committee overseeing Finance, Audit, and Tendering. Councillor McCabe.
Thank you, Your Worship. Can we look at doing an amendment to that overriding then, to at least say that maybe we don't do it tonight, but we are able to discuss it next week? Councillor Doran, are you comfortable, or next special meeting, are you comfortable with that? No, I'm asking.
Oh, no.
if I did that amendment. Okay.
No.
I will put an amendment forward that it would not go on the agenda tonight, but that we have it added to our next special meeting of council for discussion.
Well, as I said, but it would have to go back to the Standing Committee overseeing.
We never started at the same.
Mr. Forbes, if you want to interject?
I know we had asked a minute ago for, Mr. Doiron, you had inquired about a legal opinion on these issues, so I certainly reserve a lot of my comments for that legal opinion. But I will just say, just to clarify with the wording of the bylaw, it doesn't say anything about the committee from which it originated. That's not what it says. It says that it should be referred to the appropriate committee. So the mayor has made a decision about what the appropriate committee would be and has directed it back to that committee. What committee it originated from, or where the issue originated from originally, pursuant to Section 20, would not be relevant.
Okay, so the resolution is on the floor to not allow this to go back to the Standing Committee for Finance, Audit, and Tendering. Question? Questions called. Okay, all those in favor of the resolution that Councillor Duran, seconded by Councillor Tweel, forwarded, please put up your hand. And the votes on the floor.
So what are we voting on?
So you're voting on that my decision to send it back to the Standing Committee in reference to Section 20 of the procedural bylaws, subsection 20.1, to refer this back to the Standing Committee for Finance, Tendering, and Administration. And they will have a full discussion of which you sit on that committee in an open, transparent forum. And then there will be a recommendation, whether it's yay or nay, comes back to the council at the next month's meeting. That's all we're asking. I just want to follow a process, and I believe that Councillor Tweel, the vote is on the floor right now. You've already voted, so we're continuing with the vote. Okay, all those in favor of the resolution?
What, the appeal?
Yes, his appeal. You put up your hand. Okay, all those against, please put up your hand. Okay, Councillor Duran, yay or nay?
I'm still needing clarification of what we're voting for.
So your appeal is to put it on the agenda, your 6 items. Referring to Section 20, the procedural bylaw, subsection 20.1, those 6 items will be referred back to the Standing Committee responsible for this area, or for this issue, Finance, Tendering, and Administration. Yay or nay? Nay. Okay, 8-2. Okay, let's just move on. I have... Oh, Councillor Yankoff, yay or nay? I forgot you were there. Oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor Yankoff. Are you there? Is she on?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yay or nay?
No, hello.
Can you hear us?
I'm confused. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I am in favor of it following proper process, which is it goes back to the appropriate standing committee that you suggested. So
Correct.
I think that means that I'm against the resolution.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Councillor Tweel, I want to get moving because adoption. What's the point of order? What's the point?
Just on it referring back to the Finance Committee.
Yes.
I would like a legal opinion, a written legal opinion, because you know what? We're changing the rules of the game. It was discussed here at council.
Yeah.
It was never discussed at it never whatsoever.
Okay.
It was discussed here. It was initiated by council.
Yeah.
Not the Finance Committee.
So,
So I'd like a legal opinion in writing.
Mr. Forbes, could you please repeat what you said earlier? Councillor Twig, are you listening? Just listen. Okay. I get to press you, okay.
Do I have to press anything? Okay. So again, I'll reserve a legal opinion for what we've already been requested for us to provide, and I will do so. But just to have clarified the wording of section 20, which reads that the council can't vote on any motion until there is a recommendation from the committee, and it's not, the section doesn't say the committee from which it originated, it says from the appropriate committee. So where the mayor and the CAO received that request and have decided not to put it on the agenda, they have, Your Honor has identified the appropriate committee from which to get that recommendation, which would be, you could debate whether the Finance Committee is the appropriate committee or not for each of those 6 questions, but that would, at least on its face, be the appropriate committee from which to receive a recommendation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Forbes. It's always good to hear from you, sir. I call you Forbes and Forbes, Alex Forbes out there and Steve Forbes here. Adoption of the previous minutes. Regular monthly meeting, February 13th, 2023. Special meetings, February 21st, 27th, and March 8th. Need someone to move that. Moved by Councillor Ramsey, second by Councillor Bernard. All those in favor, please put up your hand. Okay. Deputy Mayor Yankoff, yea or nay?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Business arising out of the minutes. Any business? Huh? Looks good. Okay, Councillor Twill. Business arising. Could you tell us which one, February 13th, February 21st, which one?
No, it's regarding a planning issue, Mr.
Oh,
Mayor.
well, we're going to planning next.
What?
That's next. That's on the agenda number 6, reports of standing committees. We're on number 5.
I apologize.
Okay, that's all right, sir. No business arising out of the minutes? Do we need a resolution that, okay. Just on the reports from the standing committees, I was told by Sue Fraser and Tracy McLean, number 4, resolution 4 is not, it has been withdrawn, correct, Sue? Okay, so if you go to your package, number 4, and that's on the proposed short-term rental lease and bylaw as attached be approved. That's not part of the, that's been withdrawn. Donna, can you give,
Your worship, can I ask a question?
go right ahead. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
So I'm just, thank you. I'm the chair of that committee, and I was not made privy to that, so I wouldn't mind knowing why. Thank you.
Mr. Forbes, Forbes and Forbes, can you take the mic? Mr. Forbes coming on the line there.
So is the question in relation to, why is the resolution being removed? Is that the question? Yeah. So it's my understanding that planning typically always deals with planning bylaws, so every planning bylaw is forwarded through a resolution process. This is another type of a bylaw, so in discussion with Mrs. McLean today, it's the next document is the direction. You will be approving the registration bylaw by way of the document. You don't need the resolution. That's my understanding. Thank you, Your Worship.
Did you hear that, Deputy Mayor Yankoff?
I did hear it, but I don't understand it. If he could clarify it in just kind of basic terms, because it's the first I'm just hearing of it now.
Okay. Donna, do you have some?
The reading papers will be going forward. It's just the resolution itself will not be going forward because it's not it's not as per the Planning Act. It's as per the MGA. So the reading papers will be going forward. It's just the resolution itself.
Thank you, Donna. That makes perfect sense.
Deputy, are you ready to give your report?
I am, Your Worship.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. The Planning and Heritage Committee met on March the 1st and the 6th, and copies of the minutes are in your package. The Planning Board also met on March the 6th, and the minutes again are in your package. The Heritage Board met on February the 13th, and again, meeting minutes are in your package. The Design Review Board met as well on March 1st. Again, you'll see the minutes in your package. The Affordable Housing Advisory Committee did not meet in February. Therefore, there's no minutes or report attached. We now have 3 resolutions for your approval for this evening: 15 Hemlock Court, 22 4th Street, and 34 Belmont. And we also have the first reading of a short-term rental licensing bylaw to read this evening. And I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention just the reminder of the open house schedule for the upcoming official plan, public information sessions, and an opportunity for the public to ask questions and offer various opinions and information. And they are Monday, March 20th at the Rod Royalty Inn, 6:30. Tuesday, March 21st, Murchison Center, 6:30. Wednesday, March 22nd, Charlottetown Library Learning Center, 6:30. And the final one is Thursday, March 23rd at the Malcolm Bear Center. And I hope we see everybody there. And if you have any questions, I will do my best to answer. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Yankoff, could you just make sure that
Yes.
those dates are sent out to all councillors? They may have already been, but also through Janice Fogarty, the comms officer, to get them out to media and so
Yep.
forth? Okay. Councillor Duran, do you have a question?
Definitely. Thank you.
Hold on.
Yes, I do, Mayor Brown. And
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for your report, Councillor, or Deputy Mayor Yankoff. I have a question. The other day in the news, it came up that they were showing the university residence, and it was quite beautiful. They did a great job. And I remember back a couple of years ago when council approved variances for height and different things, the presentation to us at that time was that this was going to be used for a long-term rental. Some students could come in for 4 years. They wouldn't have to worry about leaving in April, coming back in September. It was like a win-win for the community, people looking for long-term rentals. But now I was told, or in the news, it's stated that, they're not renting these units out until the fall. They're going to get ready to rent them for a summer accommodations similar to a hotel. And like I'm saying, when we voted on this was for a long-term rental. And, we're in need of long-term rentals now. So my question, I guess, could be through the manager, through the chair, is when we give a building permit, do we go back and check to see what was in that permit? Like if someone comes in and says, listen, this is going to help with all long-term rentals for families, it's going to help. And then when you find out that that's not so true, where do we go as council members? Can someone answer that for me? Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, do you want to just defer that to the manager?
Yep. I can offer a little bit, and then
Thank you.
we can get Mr. Forbes to finish up. And that would be that Councillor Duran has an excellent question there. And given that we passed changes to our zoning and development bylaw that indicated what and who could operate STRs, and they were for principal residents only, that would be also a part of that question for Alex, as well as what was actually in the development agreement that the university signed at the time. So over to you, Mr. Forbes.
Mr. Forbes. Forbes.
Your Worship, so in regard to the question, when they came forward and got their approval for the 9-story building, all staff would have been dealing with was a dormitory at that time, some office, educational components of the building. So there was a development agreement, to my knowledge, placed on that, but we wouldn't get that granular in regard to what they could use it for. The overall zoning bylaw would apply to the property, zoned institutional. So, any land use that operates on the university or any other property has to adhere to the zoning bylaw. So we would, if we had some specifics in regard to what they're planning to do, I mean, we're introducing a new licensing bylaw this evening. There's new regulations coming into effect. So, I'd like to know with some more certainty as to what they're planning to do before I answer outright, but they have to adhere to, the land use regulations like anybody else. Thank you, Your Worship.
Do you want to follow up there, Councilor?
Yeah,
Just 1 second.
thank you. That was a great explanation, Alex, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but just came out the other day, and I appreciate if you look into it and get back to me. On the second part of that question was like a building permit. If I want to build an apartment building and I get the zoning, everything's approved, how long does that stay in place for? Like, is that for eternity? Is that property zoned? You can build an apartment on it for 10 years, or when does the developer have to come back and reapply for that? And that's all my questions. Thank you.
Again, I have to go back to the chair. Deputy Mayor, do you want to answer it, or do you want to defer it?
I can defer that, Your Worship, to Mr. Forbes.
Thank you. Mr. Forbes?
So in answer to the question, when we issue the building permit is in perpetuity. A building permit has two functions. It's to approve the building, the physical construction of the building, make sure it's safe, it meets all its obligations. The other half of it is the development side of it. So you don't get a building permit unless it meets the zoning bylaw. Zoning bylaws can change, but again, once you're approved initially, then if the zoning bylaw changes later, but you originally were given that approval, then you move into the status of non-conforming. So basically, when the permit is issued, it's issued permanently for the structure and the use that it was approved at that time for. Thank you, Your Worship.
You had green light on there. You better press a button there, Count.
That button about 10 times, still doesn't work.
Maybe you're hitting too hard.
Anyway.
Go ahead.
Thank you for your report, Deputy Mayor Alana. The question I have is, last Monday night I attended a meeting, Birchwood Junior High School, where there was hundreds and hundreds of people there expressing their concern about 33 Belmont Street and the Outreach Center, and how frustrated they are that the residents are with this section of the city. Paraphrase one resident being a dumping ground for these facilities and causing havoc for the residents that live in the community. But nonetheless, there was a statement made by one of the candidates, Progressive Conservative candidate Tim Kaiser, indicated that this 33 Belmont Street would not be going ahead. And the next day, the Premier of the province come out and reinforced that this would not be going ahead, that, again, 33 Belmont Street is fait accompli, and that they'll be looking at a new alternative site. Now, be that as it may, about a week ago, the Planning Department issued a permit for 33 Belmont Street. So, in light of the meeting that took place last Monday night and the statements that were made by the Progressive Conservative candidate as well as the Premier the next day, has the permit been revoked by the Premier? Has he contacted the Planning Department to revoke the permit as he's no longer committed to that, his government is no longer committed to that particular address, 33 Belmont Street? The permit was issued.
Yeah.
It was done through the Planning Department. Yeah. Was the Planning Department contacted, and was the permit revoked?
Yeah. Well, Mr. Forbes, just before you answer, 3 appeals are in on that permit. Through what? Yeah. No, just 1 second. I just want to clarify that. through IRAC. And I do want to thank Councillor Matart, the work that he did on that file, working with the government, and the result was what we heard the other night. Councillor Matart, was it Monday or Tuesday night? It was Tuesday night, correct?
Wednesday.
It's Monday night.
Was it Monday night?
Can I get a question answered?
Yeah. And I just want to say thank you for the work that you did on that, because it was something that the residents wanted to hear. Deputy Mayor Yankoff, did you want to take that on, or do you want to pass it on? I think that's a operational issue.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, it certainly is an operational issue, and I'd love the answer to the question as well. I also attended that meeting, so I'll hand that over to Mr. Forbes. If you can shed some light on the building permit process and where that is at, and whether or not it's been revoked.
Mr. Forbes.
Your worship, so the city did issue a permit for that property. We don't revoke permits. The owner can revoke the permit. It is under appeal, and I suspect in the next little while we'll be seeking direction from the province in regard to what is their intent, because it is under appeal. If that is their intention, that location is no longer of interest to them, it would certainly be nice to know that, so that we can convey that. If with their indulgence, we can revoke the permit if that's not their intent any
Councillor
longer.
McCabe, she's been waiting. And Mr. Forbes, was this an issue that we dealt with through the provincial government or the Department of Wellness, Health and Wellness? This permit or this project, or is it completely a provincial project?
No, it's we've issued a permit. They've come in with all their information. It was reviewed in detail, and they were again they were issued the permit. So, but again, once we issue the permit from our point of view it's a valid permit. The owner of the property, they're in control of where they want to go with it. If they want to revoke it, they can revoke it, or we'll be heading to IRAC to respond to our issuing of the permit. So, if they don't want to revoke it, we'll be at IRAC, but there's sort of a triad of people beyond us right now. It's the Island Regulatory Appeals Commission and the province who originally applied for the permit, but we will be seeking clarity as we move forward to the IRAC process to ensure that we understand everybody's intent. Okay. Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor McCabe.
Thank you. My points, I was going to bring up another point, but I'm going to follow and piggyback for a second on that. And I think what needs to be cleared is that you issued a permit because it met all our zoning and development bylaw regulations. It's not a project of the city. It was a project of the province, but we didn't, other than everything was as of right for that. There was no city discussing whether or not we agreed or disagreed with the safe injection site being on Belmont Street. So, I think that's really important for people to understand is we didn't have any say because the way our zoning and development is right now, they had an as of right, which is why the official plan is so important for people to get out and hear what the plan is for the city as far as our zoning and regulations are. So hopefully people that are listening and passionate about these kind of things maybe take the time to come out next week and hear and have their voices heard. And that was what my point was. And it was to more or less to say thank you to Alex for providing that information session for council and planning board and staff for the last 2 Saturdays to kind of give us the forefront on all the work that's been done with the consultants and to kind of get our heads around what we're coming up against. And my comment was just to say thank you very much.
Councillor Matard. I was next. Yeah, no, Councillor Matard has been waiting, and I'd like to, again, Councillor Matard.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on the building permit. Just wanted to be noted that I'd followed up with Mr. Forbes on several occasions regarding the lead up to the announcement on Wednesday regarding the building permit and the processes that were followed to ensure that everything was on board and met all the criteria, regardless of this not being, the city issuing it or anything like that. The government applied for the permit. Mr. Forbes assured me that everything was met and all the criteria. So I was following up on that and as well followed up with him as well on whether or not that existing permit is revoked or would be, and I was made aware that there was at the time at least one appeal to IRAC. Now I'm hearing here tonight there's at least 3. So have been following up, trying to get that information to ensure that everything was copacetic in that area.
And again, Councillor McTaggart, great job there on what transpired last week. Councillor Twill.
Just a couple of points I'd like to bring up. Councilor McCabe says the building permit was approved as of right. Well, do you know what, Councilor McCabe? The residents in that community certainly don't agree with you because they have filed 3 appeals. It's not as of right. They think there's a violation of 3 sections of the zoning and development bylaw, and that's why they're appealing it. So they don't agree that it is as of right. Nonetheless, we'll see how that plays out in Iraq. But the mere fact that the Premier made a commitment that 33 would no longer exist for the safe injection site, I'm surprised that no one's from the Premier's office or someone from involved with the Premier would have made contact with the planning department to revoke the building permit. If the building permit is revoked, that would send a clear message to the community and reduce the anxiety and the concerns that they have, and rightly so. But nonetheless, I wanted to bring that forward. Hopefully now someone that's close to the Premier or the Premier himself can contact the planning department and have it revoked so that the community can have that self-assurance. I don't believe that's an unreasonable request considering the fact he made the statement that 33 Belmont Street is no longer the site for the safe injection site.
Okay, no, that's a good point, and he may not make that call because he's on the campaign trail. Councillor McCabe.
Mine is more of a clarification. I agree 33 Belmont Street is not the right site, Councillor Twill, but I think you missed my point. My point being that the way the building sits on that lot and the way it's zoned is that they have an as of right. They didn't have to come to the city to ask for any kind of permission or any kind of variances or any kind of anything. I'm not saying that I agree that.
Okay. It's just that he's asking again. I get
The
your
system
point.
has detected
guys
that a
just-
few lines are still connected to the conference and will
No.
attempt to disconnect them.
We're-
If you wish to remain in the conference, please press star 1.
Yeah,
15.
Yeah. Are you there, Deputy?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Bernard, do you just want to sum up because we've...
Because we're talking around here. If the candidate made a statement, which I understand he did, and the Premier came out and made a statement, it's not going there, then it's not going there.
Then revoke the permit.
Yeah.
But you know what? No, probably nobody's asked him to. If it's not going there, I'm sure there's no problem revoking the permit, but usually when they make a statement like that, then it's not going there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the permit was for. I don't know if it was a renovation permit
was
or
for
what it is,
renovation.
because the building's there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know.
Okay. Yeah, can we go on to the resolutions? Are there any other questions? Okay. You got some resolutions there, Donna? Thank you kindly. Oh.
Moved by Councillor McCabe and second by Councillor Beck. That the major variance request to permit an expansion of approximately 82 square meters to the footprint of the existing dwelling containing a legally non-conforming group home use at 15 Hemlock Court, PID number 530345, be approved subject to the following conditions. 1. Prior to a building and development permit approval, surface parking shall be designed in conformance with Group Homes Regulation 5.8.2B of the Zoning and Development Bylaw, with no resulting increase to the driveway access width at the public right-of-way. And 2, the expansion is completed in accordance with all the applicable National Building Code, NBC requirements identified in the Building and Development Permit Review process. That's this version.
I'm going to open where you can vote online. Okay. So press.
Your worship.
Oh, you can, yeah, we'll just call you. Oh,
No, I just have a question.
Oh, you don't have it set up? Okay, we'll have to go back to the old system. Okay. Go ahead there.
I just have a question. Yep. Is Donna not speaking into a mic because I could not hear her read the resolution? Just bits and pieces of it. I mean, I know what it is because I read it myself, but I'm just wondering if she's speaking into a mic when she's doing that.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that. I didn't have it on.
Get all mic'd up there, Donna. You don't have to read it over. Councilor Matard. Go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair to the manager, a question around this particular variance. I see that there was consultation done within the surrounding area, and there was one request for information, and that information appears to have been provided and addressed some of the concerns of the adjacent property. So my question then becomes, just for my own clarity, what is it the prior to building and development permit approval, surface parking shall be designed in conformance with group home regulations? Can you explain to me that is a little bit more, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. That's
Thank
just
you, Council.
Deputy Mayor, is it all right that that you deferred to the manager?
Yes, it is, but just check with me first next time. Thanks.
Yeah. We can't see you, so we forget. Okay, go ahead there, Mr. Forbes.
Through Your Worship, that's just to ensure that when you're, they are expanding the property, but they're not expanding the number of rooms. But sometimes people get these approvals and then the driveway either expands. There are very specific regulations dealing with driveway widths and the amount of cars that are allowed in it. So we're just ensuring that they're aware of that even though they're expanding the building, that they have to still adhere to the zoning bylaw requirements, which is that section of the bylaw in regard to the width and location and all of those elements dealing with the driveway on that property.
Thank you, Your Chair, through the chair. So does this mean that they have then, before, it says prior to the building and development permit approval?
Right.
So have they conformed to this, Chair?
Okay, just Deputy Mayor,
Deputy Mayor?
is it all right to defer it to the manager of planning, development, and heritage?
Yes, he can continue on with this
Okay.
one. Thank you so much.
Mr. Forbes.
Thank you.
Your Worship, so this resolution is just telegraphing to the applicant that when we see the permit, you have to comply, right? So just so that they don't get sort of blindsided at the last minute, they come in, they have a design, and then they go, well, it wasn't our understanding that we misinterpreted what we were getting the approval for. So we're just telling them, you need to check that section, and when you put in your building permit application, we will be ensuring that that section is adhered to. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay. Question called? Question called. Okay, back to the old way. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, you can't raise your hand, so just say yay or nay.
Yay.
Okay. Wait the second one, please.
Moved by Councillor McCabe and second by Councillor Beck, that the request to consolidate 102 Watts Avenue, PID number 890053, and a portion of 22 4th Street, PID number 536284, resulting in two separate lots, Lot 23-1 and Lot 23-2, be approved subject to the following conditions. Registration of a pinned final survey plan and a new perimeter deed description describing the outer boundaries of the consolidated parcels with the Provincial Register of Deeds. And 2, the applicant submits to the Planning and Heritage Department written confirmation that Innovation PEI has reviewed and accepted the proposed lot consolidation.
Questions called? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Deputy, yay or nay?
Yay.
Moved by Councillor McCabe and seconded by Councillor Beck, that the request to consolidate 34 Belmont Street, PID number 940122, and a portion of 1 Plywood Place, PID number 365064, proposed parcel A, resulting in two separate lots, Lot 22-1 and Lot 22-2 be approved, subject to the following conditions. Registration of a PIN final survey plan and a new perimeter deed description describing the outer boundaries of the consolidated parcels with the Provincial Register of Deeds. And 2, the existing building on proposed lot 22-2 is designed and renovated to the satisfaction of the Chief Building Officer.
And Donna, that's 34 Belmont Street. 34. 34. Councilor Picard, do you have a question or you just? Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to just clarify that this particular piece of work here, I believe, is for an expansion of the facility that is occupied by Holland College. Your chair?
Deputy, is it occupied by Holland College?
Yep, that's correct.
And my understanding is for use of further development and programming with Holland College?
Deputy Mayor?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Question called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, yea or nay?
Yay.
Okay.
Your Worship, this is the first reading of a bylaw. It's to adopt bylaw PHSTR .1-000 to adopt a new short-term rental STR licensing bylaw for the City of Charlottetown for administering licenses pertaining to tourist homes. Be it resolved that the bylaw to amend the City of Charlottetown short-term rental STR licensing bylaw PHSTR .1 as attached be read a first time and approved, and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council. Moved by Councillor McCabe and seconded by Councillor Beck.
So Donna, again, the planning board number 4 was stricken, but this is the bylaw, so we don't need to pass a okay. Councillor Beck is also in conflict, as is Councillor Twill, so you have to leave the chamber. You have to leave the chamber.
Councillor Beck moved it, I think, seconded. Yes.
So Councillor Beck, that your name has to be changed, so it goes,
Yeah, do you mind?
no, actually you can go
No?
with the,
Julie already moved it. Just.
and this is the first reading.
Thank you.
Good.
Councillor Tweels and.
Okay.
Where's Councillor Tweel?
Shall I carry? Okay. Can I just hear, just again, raise your hands? Shall it carry? Please raise your hands. Okay. Shall it not? Okay, so it's, Deputy, yea or nay?
Carry.
Okay,
Carry.
so I have 7-1. You can ask them to come back in, Donna. Is that, do you have to read it again?
No, Your Worship.
Okay. You can, on this issue or another?
Well, just to,
Go ahead.
sort of like for clarification for the new councillors, once it's passed your first reading, like the second reading, there's no discussion at all on your
Correct.
second reading, correct?
Correct.
So, no, I just asked that question.
Good
And I
point.
just want to make sure for the new councillors to
Thank you.
understand that. Thank you.
Councillor McAleer, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question on the rental bylaw thing. What will the license fee be?
Councillor McAleer, that's not, that is not, the changes to, of permit fees has not been done yet. We don't have an answer to that question yet. Tonight, the only thing we have is a licensing bylaw.
Thank you.
For how to apply for a license,
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, are there any other items on the docket there for planning, Madam Chair or Deputy Mayor Cody? Deputy Mayor
Nope,
Yankoff?
that's everything.
Thank you.
Yep, that's everything. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay, next report, water and wastewater, and that is Councillor Duran.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. The Water and Sewer Utility Committee met twice on February the 9th and March 2nd with a special meeting, mainly to deal with the upcoming budgets. I have one resolution for your consideration tonight, and I just want to pass on some thanks. Our CAO had written a letter to myself and the manager about an incident that happened a few days ago with a water main break on West Ridge Crescent. A lot of the neighbors were out without water for quite a while the staff were working diligently trying to repair, and our CAO said they worked way into the night, to the early wee morning hours, and when they woke up, all the neighborhood had water. So, it's little instances like this that, we take for granted, that we have staff on that go out in all types of weather and all types of hours and work hard to keep our water and sewer in place. And just a nice little shout out to them for the great job they do. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Okay, you have a resolution,
Yes,
Donna?
Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Duran and seconded by Councillor Matart that the City of Charlottetown accepts the tender from Hanson Electric Limited in the amount of $813,000
Yeah, is that 813,000 or $813? Okay, so just add, what? Just add another zero there. Thank goodness. we're not do-
$813,000 plus applicable taxes for pumping station upgrades, royalty, and Walker, and that the mayor and CAO are hereby authorized to execute standard contracts and agreements to implement this resolution.
Question call. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, yea or nay?
In favor.
And that's it, Councillor Duran? That's it. Thank you, sir. Okay. And it's Councillor McKay. Public Works.
Your Worship, the Public Works Committee met on March 1st with draft minutes that are included in your package. The Civic Board for Persons with Disabilities have not met since our last monthly meeting of council. There are 2 resolutions anticipated to be forwarded this evening, as well as the first reading of the street access bylaw. If there's any questions from council, I'll do my best to answer.
Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Chair. Rectangular rapid flashing beacons. Can you describe what these are? Are these just the ones that are up in the post and says how fast you're going, or are these the ones at 1911 jail, for example? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ramsey. Those would be the ones that are similar to the ones that are the 1911 jail that we talked about being ordered. And I have already prepared the answer to the next question that's coming, is where are they going to be situated? Because it indicates in the report that the staff will be deploying these. They're presently working on a draft policy that will outline the criteria for where these devices will go. We hope to have that at our next committee meeting of Public Works. If not this month, then by next month. And that policy will then come to council for your update, information, and approval. Any questions else? I'll try my best.
Councillor Duran.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Thank you, Councillor McCabe. I'm just looking at the award of the tree maintenance contract. I had a person from Maple Avenue contacted me just when I was coming in the door there today, and he asked, when are they going to finish? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I know your committee is just here for this, to get a tender out. He called the access number, and I don't know if it's in service now or they were just gone for the day, but a bunch of his big trees have red ribbons on them, and he's just wondering who does he call to see if they're going to come back. I don't know if it's appropriate for your committee or its environment. Thank you.
Councilor McCabe?
So we know that that project was implemented. We rolled out that project on behalf of the province, and I think probably we'd have to look and find out and get an updated information about where they are from the province level. And I also, as well today, we're talking about tree arborists and stuff in the Public Works budget. And they are in the works of kind of transferring some of this back over to environment and sustainability, which is where it really belongs. So they are working collaboratively to find out how to make this transition happen. So eventually it'll be over in your committee, Councillor Durant, or Bernard, sorry.
Working outside the silos. Councillor Twill. Councillor Twill.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. Councillor McCabe, in recent years, the Public Works Department purchased a machinery for hot asphalt mix to go out and fill up the potholes. I'm sure they're making progress. I know that the one on the corner of Belvedere and I think not Nassau, but Belvedere and North River Road always seems to be a major concern. What I'd like to recommend, Chair, through yourself to our manager, is that we embark upon a communication strategy so that some of the neighborhoods that have these large potholes, we can entice and encourage them to contact the city to let Public Works know that these massive potholes are on their neighborhood street, and that the Public Works Department can respond accordingly. So can we embark upon a strategy so that as opposed to having serious damage done to some of these vehicles, and being proactive to let the residents know that we are, our Public Works Department is doing their best to go out and fill these holes, but to have them contact the Public Works Department as soon as possible to avoid, again, serious damage to their vehicles and not having to come in to fill out an accident claim. Can we put that in?
Yeah,
Put that in progress?
and you can put it on the agenda for the next meeting because you'll sit
I
in the
want to
committee.
do it now. We can't
Okay,
wait for
okay,
the next agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Here's
We
Councillor
need to-
McCabe, he's going to answer you.
Just 1 second.
Yeah.
We need to do it now before,
Okay.
to avoid any damage to people's vehicles.
Okay. Councillor
Thank you.
McCabe. Thank you, Councillor McCabe.
So I just clarified, the asphalt plant's not even open yet, so they're
Oh.
not going to be filling asphalt holes right now, but, your manager, he thinks it's open. Is it open?
So the asphalt plants are not open. What it is we have a machine called hot asphalt patcher. So it's a large trailer, it's enclosed, and it can heat. So what it is, we have bricks, we call them, that are 6 tons in size of asphalt. We dump them in one night. In the morning, they're ready to go, and we go out and fill potholes. So that's a temporary
that?
fix. So that's what we have been doing 1 to 2 times per week this week when staff are available. And the weather cooperates, of course. Every other night, we're using cold mix to keep the holes at bay as well. So we do have staff on 24/7. They're patrolling. We have superintendents on duty crew. They're creating a list. They keep adding to that list, and we keep chipping away at that list as much or every night that we can. But yes, we do invite the public to call. We do get a number of calls through both the public and council also sends us emails as well. And we add them to the list and we get to them as quickly as we can.
And comms is now is that under your committee now, communications? And maybe you're right, we can get a little PSA out to put that out to let people know that they can call in if they discover a pothole. Thank you.
Okay. Add Spring Park Road to that. Councillor Twill, you have another one? Yeah. Okay. Another question?
No, just to follow up.
Okay.
And the PSA is one thing. I'd like for the department to even take it a step further and maybe maybe Scott do an interview with the media or issue some press releases and really drive it home to be as proactive as we possibly can because this is the time of year a lot of vehicles are damaged, and as opposed to them coming in, again, I'll reiterate, opposed to them coming in, filling in accident claim forms, this is being very proactive. It's hard to get to all the neighborhood streets where a lot of these potholes are. So, thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor Twill. Okay, you get a couple of resolutions? Do you have a question?
I just have a quick question
Okay.
for Councillor McCabe on
Again, we
the
can't see you,
pothole
but
filling.
go ahead.
Okay. Councillor McCabe, I actually reached out to Public Works in the fall for a pothole down in my ward, and I was told that I had to wait till the spring. So is there something else I should be directing people to? Because I was told that we had to wait till the spring.
Like you, Councillor Yankoff, I didn't realize that we had a machine that went around filling temporary holes in the city, so I learned something tonight too, and I think if we direct your residents when you get a complaint, like Councillor Twill just talked about, that they phone into Public Works, and then we'll hopefully have someone dispatched to do that.
Good, Councillor, or Deputy Mayor Yankoff? You call, we respond.
Sure, thanks.
Okay, Councillor Bernard.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm surprised that the Council Yankoff be told to wait till the spring. I mean, the idea when we bought that hot asphalt machine was it seals the hole. It's not just like throwing millions in it. The hot asphalt is actually paving. It seals the hole. So, you know, it saves an awful lot of time from them having to go back and forth, because, you know, when you use the asphalt millings, with the melt and the water going in the hole, it doesn't last very long. So, but I always thought the staff was also going out looking for potholes and making lists for the employees that are running the hot asphalt machine to have a list for them to take to fix up all those holes with the hot asphalt machine.
Okay. So we have a resolution coming on.
Moved by Councillor McCabe and seconded by Councillor McAleer, that as per the conditions of the public request for quotations for rectangular rapid flashing beacons, the submission of RK Associates in the amount of $55,849.42 plus all applicable taxes be accepted, and that the mayor and CAO are hereby authorized to execute standard contracts and agreements to implement this resolution.
Rectangular, rapid, what was it?
It's in your
No, I
package.
know, but I was just reading it. down. It was
Rectangular
gone.
rapid flashing beacons.
Oh, okay.
Not beagle, it's a beacon. Okay. Vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Pretty good, Donna. Deputy Mayor, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay.
Moved by Councillor McCabe and seconded by Councillor McAleer, that as per the conditions of the public request for quotations for 2023 urban forest management contract, the submission of branch manager tree service in the amount of pruning and tree removal, $780 per hour plus all applicable taxes, stump grinding, $410 per hour plus applicable taxes, and additional urban forest managed support, $1,245 per hour, plus applicable taxes be accepted, and that the mayor and CAO are hereby authorized to execute standard contracts and agreements to implement this resolution.
Question? Oh, no, Councilor Mattar.
Thank you. In reading this, I noticed that it is based on a daily or an hourly rate. Do we have any indication, Chair McCabe, on how many, like, is it capped at a certain amount for this particular work?
I'm actually going to defer to the manager, and Scott, maybe just speak a little bit. I know there was questions about how expensive this contract seemed, but what it also includes.
Thank you, Your Worship. So yes, it's an hourly rate. It's an operational budget expense, which is capped at the max. So I believe it's, I think it was 100,000 this past year, or 150. I can't know off the top of my head, but we cap it at that amount throughout the year. The reason why we need this contractor is because in-house, we don't have the services to remove large stature trees, to get up high in a big boom truck or bucket truck, I guess, to limb and trim some of these trees that are healthy, that need some of that work to continue to encourage healthy growth. So it's a supplement to our current services because of the service that we can't currently provide.
Councilor Matard. Hold on.
Thank you for that. Just to follow a question on regard to that, does the department oversee that work through some type of mechanism of timesheets or work that is submitted throughout the day, or an expected amount of work that is allocated by the city within that time frame?
Your worship. So yes, so it's pre-scheduled with the contractor. Usually, most times about once a week during the summer months, and we between Public Works and Environment Sustainability staff. The environment sustainability staff are the ones who identify it and are the main contact for this contractor. So they manage the number of hours, and there's a number of staff on site working with the contractor as well to confirm the hours that were worked and ensure that the invoicing is appropriate.
Okay. Donna, could you read did you read it?
Yeah.
You call the question there? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor? Deputy Mayor, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay.
This is a street access bylaw 2023 SA-01 to establish rules and procedures for the application for and approval of modifications to existing accesses and the creation of new accesses to public streets in the city of Charlottetown. It will repeal and replace previous bylaw adopted June 11th, 2008. Resolved that the attached bylaw, City of Charlottetown Street Access Bylaw, number 2023-SA-01 be read a first time, moved by Councillor McCabe and seconded by Councillor Twill.
Okay. Shall I carry? Oh, no, just 1 second. Councillor Drawn.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. On this, it says for approval. So if you look at a builder that wants to access the land, does staff determine, no, you can't access that? Or like it says here, it is the duty and responsibility of the committee, A and B. So does the committee look at the applications that staff can approve? Is the committee overseeing this? Would this be to the chair or
Yeah.
to the
We'll go through the chair
manager?
first. Councillor
Go
Drawn.
through the chair.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McCabe.
Councillor McCabe.
Sorry
Councillor
about
Drawn.
that.
No, that's okay. I hope to God we're not overseeing
Okay.
applications for the city right-of-ways, but I'm going to let Scott answer that question.
Your worship. So if an individual wants to develop their land, they do have a right to public right way, but we work with them to choose the most appropriate place for their property. So there is an application process and there's steps to be followed. We currently do this in a policy that's what was developed and adopted a few years ago under Public Works, but this is just to further strengthen it and incorporate it into the greater street access bylaw that has been in place for a number of years. So it's not a committee; it comes to I believe the manager of Public Works for final approval, but it's overseen. The policy falls under the Public Works Committee. That's my understanding.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because there's a number of streets here that, there's a large appendix there on A. So now if I, or a builder owns a piece of land and we pass this, is it going to change his access or her access to his land and the ability to develop that land just by passing this?
So, Your Worship, so that list has always been there, limited access under the original street bylaw access. We actually did remove one road, the Royalty Road, because there was a lot of development in that area that's taken place, and it has changed from more of a collector to a residential area, so we did remove it as part of these changes. So yes, so when an individual developer comes in and looks at it, we look at the whole thing. It depends on what type of development they're doing. There's a number of factors, and again, we work with the developer to come up with a good plan or a game plan to get access to the public right away in a safe manner.
Okay, and I'm sorry, through the chair, it's just, you know, we have a housing crisis here, we're looking to build, and I just, you know, I get nervous when we pass something, but you said it's already been here, so we're just doing a little house cleaning on it, is that what it is? Okay, thank you.
Scott, Royalty Road, was that removed from Appendix A? Did you say Royalty Road?
That's correct. There's a list of streets with restricted access, and Royalty One was originally on that list prior to.
It's now removed.
Yeah, that's correct.
So if I look at Appendix A with the amended bylaw, Royalty Road's still there. You go to the appendix, do you have the, so do we strike that off?
Royalty Junction Road.
Okay, but I have the new version here too. Is the new version with the bylaw? Yes, correct? Donna?
Yes, it is, Your Worship.
Yeah. Nope, Royalty Road. I just want to make sure that if we're amending it. Yes, thank you.
It says Royalty Junction Road.
No, there's. Anyways, can we remove that? That's what's going to be removed, correct? Sir?
That is correct. The
Okay.
the updated version should not have Royalty Road on it.
So, take that out. Oh, you don't have it? Who doesn't have it?
The resolution doesn't have it.
Donna, this is the bylaw, right? That's Royalty Road.
And Upton Road, perimeter highway to Royalty Road. That's. Royalty Junction Road is there, but this is up the name of the restricted, the limited access route is Upton Road, which runs from the perimeter highway to Royalty Road, correct?
That's correct. It should be up.
Okay. Anyways, duly noted. Okay. Shall I carry? Shall I carry? Yeah. Deputy Mayor, yea or nay?
Yay.
Resolved that the bylaw be now approved as a city bylaw and that it be entitled the City of Charlottetown Street Access Bylaw 2023 SA-01 and that it be read a second time at the next public meeting of council. Moved by Councillor McCabe and seconded by Councillor Twill.
Okay. Shall I carry? Pass? Okay. Deputy Mayor, yea or nay?
Pass.
Okay.
Yay.
That's it, Councilor McCabe? Okay. Economic development, economic, tourism, and cultural development. Councillor Kevin Ramsey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Economic Development Tourism met on February 23rd. The minutes are in your package. We have one resolution for you. If we have any questions, you can pass them on, and my manager's here, and myself will certainly try to answer them. Thank you very much.
Okay. Councillor Duran.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Thank you for your report, Councilor Ramsey. I know this has been a hot topic, and I just heard a bit of conversation tonight about it, about the Michael Pendergast application for Victoria Park. You know, we're getting a lot of negative publicity that council doesn't want this. You know, council, this never came to council. Council never, and I tried to tell people, we don't look at that. That's an operational issue. We've never voted on it. You know, in my own personal belief, I believe that, you know, the pavilion was built for these type of things. I just don't know, like, how we can get ahead of these type of bad publicity and that make us look bad. You know, the park is there. I know there's some Victoria Park bylaws, but we did agree, the last council, to build this beautiful building and you know, open it up for people to play some music. I know we can't have rock bands in there, you know, and you can't charge. So I'm just wondering, you know, I hate to see it, you know, you get on Twitter and it says, oh, Summerside beat Charlottetown again, but, you know, it's just something that we have to work to stay ahead of. Do you have any explanation for that at all? Thank you.
I read the same thing, was asked the same questions. In fact, I even asked today some people, I said, when did we ever refuse this? And it never came to council, and now I believe it's under our department, but Parks looks after Victoria Park. If I might refer that to Mr. Long? Yes, if you don't mind.
Do you? Okay.
Mr. Long?
Could you give us a little background there, Mr. Wayne Long?
Sure. Mr. Chair, Mr. Prendergast submitted a proposal as a part of the city's budget process to offer a Kaylee in Victoria Park during the summer months, just like many other applicants submit during the budget process. Staff met with Mr. Prendergast to understand his application and sought the information that was requested to be evaluated as a part of the process. The stories that are in the media are very unfortunate and not factual. I'm not sure how we got to the point where we are today. Mr. Prendergast's application is still very much under consideration as a part of the budget process. In fact, staff had communicated with him as late as this morning on this particular item. So it's unfortunate where we ended up today. I'm not sure how we got there. Our department is certainly open to entertain these applications. It is important to note, though, that this particular item was a proposal of Mr. Prendergast. The city didn't go out and seek proposals from entertainers to offer entertainment throughout the summer months. As everyone knows, the city is very active in terms of events and culture initiatives and activities. And so to conclude, it's very much under consideration. It's come through our standing committee. It's now moving on to the finance committee for further consideration.
Councillor Duran, is that all right? Again, you raise a good point because I, along with Sue Fraser, were at our party Friday night and it came up, and of course Mr. Prendergast was there too, but are you all right with the answer?
Yeah, that's a perfect explanation.
Yeah.
You know, I know, you know, when it gets out in the publicity and people start calling, what are you doing? Like, it takes time for us to say, we never seen the application. No. It was to staff. And you know, we're always saying about culture and music and vitality of the city. And, you know, this is just a black mark that, you know, I felt we had to address because, you know, staff do a great job. We're always trying to get entertainment in the city. And, you know, I just wanted to address it. And I thank you for your explanation. Thank you.
Councillor Beck.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a follow-up to that. As a councillor who lives in close proximity, myself and Deputy Mayor Yankoff, we both live close to Victoria Park, and I had a fair amount of residents who reached out to me about this particular initiative as well, too. And again, Wayne, I thank you for your explanation. It makes a lot of sense, and we understand the demands that are there on the economic and tourism and cultural department, and we have to figure out what fits and what doesn't fit. I think if there's been one good thing about this, the response that I received from the residents that I spoke with was that they were, to a person, supportive of it. And there was no pushback to it. There was no saying, listen, let's kind of keep Victoria Park as what it is. I think the approach is appropriate. There are processes to follow. We go through it, we evaluate them, we look at what we can accommodate at any given time. And I think if there's any positive light about this, is it's evoked a discussion in terms of what is potentially possible. And I think as we're moving forward as a city, I think we can look at things and see how can we incorporate in a appropriate manner, I guess, activities that can work within it. So I think the discussion will be ongoing. I'm glad it's been opened. I certainly agree that the pavilion has been underutilized, and I think we have a jewel in Victoria Park. How do we make the jewel work to its best capacity? And but I think it's been it came up in a hurry, and to your point, Councillor Duran, it did we didn't really have much of an opportunity to respond to it. So I think having the opportunity is good right now, and I'm glad that we are looking at what the potential may be down the road for it. Thank you.
Well said there, Councillor Beck. Councillor McCabe.
And I just want to take a positive twist to the last couple of weeks and really commend your department for the great work with Canada Games that happened down along the, with the hot chocolate and the sugar shack, and being out there and providing pins and just being a real presence for our city. We had our Charlietown out volunteering every night of the week, doing a great job engaging with our residents, and then staff that took their time to be there. And I went one day and I wasn't dressed very well, and I think I lasted 7 minutes before I was nearly crying. So that was a great haul, and very appreciated by the residents and by us as council. Thank you.
Stayed for my hour there, Councillor McCabe. What? I stayed for my hour. Thanks, Wayne. Thank you very much. Well done. Councillor McNair.
Yeah, just staying with the Victoria Park and the Michael Pendergrass thing. I had a lot of feedback and comment on it as well from residents. But Wayne, I just wondered if, just on the pavilion itself, if you could kind of speak to its history and its original purpose and mandate, and what, because I think it does scream, entertainment, I guess, to some degree. And so that if you could help maybe clarify that to residents, that might be helpful. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the Culture Pavilion was constructed several years ago. It was a funding partnership between the municipality and ACOA, the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency. The pavilion was to be very much community in nature and scope. The federal government didn't want to see the pavilion compete with downtown enterprise and other businesses looking to create livelihood within this particular area. As you know, the park is operated and managed by Parks and Recreation. They also oversee the Cultural Pavilion, no different than community centers. I don't want to speak for Parks and Recreation Department, but that's how the venue itself operates. From a city perspective, events such as Nail Day, Canada Day, Cinema Under the Stars are all held in Victoria Park traditionally. We strayed from that a bit the last couple of years in order to get around.
The system has detected that a few lines are still connected to the conference and will attempt to disconnect them. If you wish to remain in the conference, please press star 1. 15.
We had to stray from that just briefly during the pandemic in order to meet the requirements of the provincial government around health regulations, but all of those items seem to be returning in their traditional format. There's some dialogue as we currently speak between the Economic Development Standing Committee as well as Parks and Recreation in terms of, is there an opportunity, is there an on-ramp to create community programming moving forward. Many cities have music in the park or similar to that. I would add to this conversation as well that the municipality also funds 3 downtown stages, which are very vibrant, have a lot of participants and various demographics, et cetera, and those being on Victoria Row, always on stage, 2 waterfront stages, 1 at Peaks Wharf, summer concert series, as well as 1 at Founders Hall. So there obviously is opportunities, and further dialogue will only lead us to how to best address those.
Councillor McAleer.
Good. I'm good.
Okay, Councillor Bernard.
Thank you, Your Worship. I too want to thank the committee and the members, and I know Sue Fraser was helping out with Canada Games quite a bit, and obviously anybody that took part in any of the Canada Games, it was pretty exciting. Most of those sports, there's a gold medal game, especially the men's gold medal game was a hot game like we haven't seen in years. The girls' ringette, bronze medal games, was a lot of excitement to the game. So again, thank you, and thank you for your staff for the work. The other thing was, I can't help but wonder when I seen that story when we talk about Pendergast, if in this particular case it wasn't all the timing. They came in with a proposal, and I'm glad to hear they're still looking at it. But I think the timing is because the budget process is not done. He's looking for putting on some shows during this particular summer. Our budget's not passed yet, so it sounds to me like he was looking for an answer quicker than we could give it. So I'm glad to hear that it's still an application that the committee is forwarding on to budget. And so I guess it's possible that he could still be playing here, or is it a done deal now?
Through the chair, Councillor Bernard, Mr. Pendergast's application is still very much being considered. The city has worked with Mr. Pendergast in the past. He's obviously a talented artist. And just like we have several other similar applications that are before us right now, the committee has entertained the application and is moving on to the Finance Committee, and then eventually will come before Council for consideration. So it forms a part of the city's operational budget.
Thank you. Your worship, just looked to me like it was just poor timing. It was just the time of year where the request was made, and it's got to go through the budget to be approved. So, anyway, thank you.
No, we're busy people up here, and Wayne, thank you for everything you're doing. I'm glad you mentioned those 3 venues, Park, Peaks Wharf, Founders Hall, Victoria Row, all great shows. And Festival Illumination that was down on the waterfront, excellent. And just to follow up on Councillor Beck's concern, or what he raised about the Victoria Park bylaw, it's very precise in what we can use it for, but we also have the Victoria Park Act of 1872 that we have to respect. So that park is, every islander has a stake in it. So anyways, we're doing a great job when it comes to entertainment. I think Donna has a resolution.
Moved by Councillor Ramsey and seconded by Councillor McAleer, that City Council support the implementation of a parking ticket forgiveness program within the BIA, the Business Improvement Area boundary, on a 1-year trial, and that the dates for the initiative in 2023 include April the 1st to the 30th, September the 4th to the 30th, December 1st to the 31st, and that further that the program applies solely to metered parking.
Councillor Beck.
Yeah, just one question. I think it's a great idea, the forgiveness program. The only thing I'm seeing referenced here in terms of an explanation of the program is the letter from Don Allen, basically outlining what the nature of the request is. But if someone's trying to understand what it is, where would they publicly find this information? Because there are some stipulations around it, such like you have to, the receipt must be submitted within 3 hours, must be a minimum of $30 spent, like these sort of criteria that are there. And the motion doesn't really, it basically, if I look at this motion, it might say, well, there's a ticket forgiveness from April 1st to 30th, from September 4th to 30th, and from December 1st to 31st, when in fact there is ticket forgiveness with these stipulations. And so I'd just like to know if we could, where people would reference that, to go look for it, to see where it is, to see what that entails.
Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Councillor Beck. There are great points that you pointed out. Maybe I can refer that to Wayne.
Do you mind?
Because we've been working on this now for, your worship, I think, months now.
Yeah.
And we're finally getting the details down. And I would like to refer it to Wayne because he was handling that file pretty good. Thank you.
Mr. Long.
Mr. Chair, this is very much a partnership with the BIA, with Downtown Charlottetown, Inc. So there will be an entire rollout of a campaign, if you'd like to call it, around the parking initiative. We're in those discussions and dialogue right now. It will be clear that it is a partnership between the municipality as well as the BIA, and you'll start to see promotion and communications around this in the near future.
Councillor Beck.
Thank you for that, Wayne. Yep.
Okay. Question? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Deputy? Yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay. Is that it, Councillor? Just 1 second, Kevin.
Yes, in closing, Your Worship, I would also like to thank all the staff and all the city councilors, yourself, and everybody involved in Canada Games. It was fantastic. I sort of missed some of it, but that's beside the point. And I want to remind people that the AUS Championship is coming this weekend. It's at the East Link Center. It is at McLaughlin's for all the 8 teams in the university. It's going to be fantastic hockey. So I'm going to get your name down and get there and help support UPI Panthers. Thank you.
And Councillor Beck is quite involved with the youth sports national men's. Okay. Do you want to give a little blurb? Huh? Do you want to say a few words? Okay. We're moving now to the next report. Environment, sustainability, and that's Councillor Bernard.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Environment and Sustainability Committee met on February the 15th and February 27th. The meetings are in your package. There is no resolution for council consideration at this time, Your Worship. But I would like to make some statements here, Your Worship, or some updates. The city has just received permission. Some of you may have heard the interview this morning that one of our staff personnel, Alistair, had with the flood protection program. But we just received permission from Intact that's funding the flood protection rebates, that they're extending the program now till November 30th. So previously it was May 30th, so that's extended now till November 30th, which will allow the rebate program to be offered up until the fall or until the funds are dried up. Funds right now, there's $80,000 to be spent, and that's 40% of that has been currently allocated, Your Worship. So if you know anyone that's looking, it's a heck of a program, and we know with Fiona and the power being out for so long, any flooding when you have no power, unless you got a generator, you're not pumping that water out. So this has battery backup. So the system you can buy, it does cover up to 75% of your cost, up to a maximum of $1,000. So just so everybody knows. And this probably goes back to the question Councilor Drown was asking earlier with Public Works, Your Worship. The tree cleanup on private lands is completed on 816 of our properties, with 300 properties still remaining. So, and Your Worship, the transit ridership in February is 84,385, a lot for a month, and it's up from last year's totals of 38,000 from February last year. And just on that, Your Worship, as we're aware, our transit system is very popular and continues to grow by the day. It's time to expand the service, and I think we've all heard that from our residents. We need to add more routes. We need to extend the hours of service. We need to increase frequency of the current routes, and we need to add Sunday service to our transit system. To add these additional service obviously costs money. So the city cannot do this alone. So, Your Worship, as you know, I requested a meeting with Minister Stephen Myers and Minister Corey Deagle, who both had transit as part of their departmental budgets, to discuss our future plans for transit improvements moving forward. We met on February the 6th. I can tell you both ministers were impressed with how well our transit system has grown, as they, Your Worship, are also looking to do the same with their rural routes. I know one of the things that Minister Myers especially brought up was he'd like to see the rural routes running later, so in the evening, so people can enjoy what downtown Charlotte has to offer, as opposed to having to go jump on a bus right after work and head back to Georgetown or Summerside. He would be working to try and have them go a little bit later. So, having said that, he understood our requests because we're also looking to have our routes running, as opposed to ending at 6:45, going until 10 o'clock, 10:15. So, Your Worship, I'm very pleased to confirm tonight that the ministers have agreed to provide our ask. That was $475,000 in extra funding to expand our transit system in the greater Charlottetown area. So we spoke on behalf of Stratford and Cornwall also. So, Your Worship, this investment from the provincial government for transit is the largest investment in public transit history on Prince Edward Island to date. So, do want to give credit where credit's due, Your Worship. So, Stephen Myers and Corey Deagle, and thank them very much for making sure that this happened. And I also want to thank the staff, especially Jessica, for getting me the information I needed to make the presentation to the ministers. And I can give you an idea of what we're looking for some of the upgrades. Not upgrades, the extensions that we would like to put into the transit system. In addition, it goes downtown to Sherwood and Hillsborough Park, the eastern perimeter. On-demand evening services for routes 2 and 3. They extend the hours from 6:45 to 10:15 p.m. And that's been a big one. That's been a big ask for students who can get home from university, and people get off work at 10 o'clock and so on. So the Sunday service, looking to add the Sunday service in routes 2 and 3 from 11 till 6 p.m. Saturday, looking for the Saturday service for routes 23 and additional frequencies on routes 1, 2, and 3. And weekdays, additional frequency on routes 1, 2, and 3. And Sleepy Hollow Road Loop, we're looking to add Sleepy Hollow Road service to the North Collector. And then as for Stratford and Cornwall, it's additions to their Bunbury and Southport Loop, and expand more service in the Cornwall area. So, Your Worship, good news all around. My understanding is, the staff tell me they've been looking for this for a few years, a couple of years. So, big improvements coming in the transit system. So, Your Worship, that's all I had. If there's any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you.
Well, that's great news. Just before if I look at last year's budget, it was 425, but we didn't get the 425. The year before it was 180. So is this 180 plus?
Yeah, so we
475, sorry, go ahead.
We've been getting 180, Your Worship, since 2012, I believe. 2011, 2012 has been the subsidy from the province. In the budget last year, I'm not sure. I think staff was saying they thought they had an agreement. They didn't have an agreement, so I think we dealt with that halfway through last year. But anyway, we've got this worked out on the money we wanted, on the routes we want to add, and so it's been confirmed, and it is on top of the 180.
Okay,
So
perfect.
we have our subsidy ask in the budget for the 150 that we would submit to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor McKinnon.
Thank you, Councillor Bernard, for that, and that is good news for all the bus routes be extended. Just a question for the North End Winslow area. Will they be extended to 10:15 as well, including weekends, as you had stated East Royalty is getting?
You know, yes, it will. When I look at the routes, 2 and 3 does go through your area. So that will. I'll just confirm it here now. Yeah, 2 and 3. It's extended from 6:45 to 10:15. Yeah.
Good. Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you for your report, Councillor Bernard. Fantastic, since I'm a former employee of that. I think it's great. We've been hearing these stories for years about extending it. Is there someone going to be tracking these extra hours as far as passengers? Because, like, let's say all of a sudden from 6:30 or 6:45 to 10 p.m., like, there's nobody on these buses, what's going to happen? I know it's a half tough question. I just wondered if they're going to
Not
be
tough at
tracked
all.
with those
Not
extra
tough at
hours.
all. It's the residents that have been requesting this. So I assume that they're probably going to be full. Yeah. So, and as a former driver, yeah. So you would know that they've been asking for this for a while, and now with the provincial funding, we're able to implement it. Thank you.
More badger. Put your number. Put it on. Councillor Twill.
Yeah, thank you. One of the requests came from residents living in Gower Street was the extension of the route on St. Peter's Road. St. Peter's Road is extremely busy, as you know, and they're also looking for a bus shelter. Now, we went through the capital projects. I think at the time it was stated that we're going to have 10 new bus shelters, and then I found out earlier tonight that we're not getting 10 new bus shelters. We're just getting seats for existing bus shelters, which is disappointing because, some of the residents are requesting new bus shelters. I've made a request even back when I was the chair for a bus shelter for the seniors that live at Devar Court and Queens Court. And I thought with this budget year, when I heard 10 new bus shelters, I assumed it was going to be 10 new bus shelters, not seats for existing bus shelters. So can you put that back in your committee's agenda to see what can be done to purchase new bus shelters. Again, from St. Peter's Road to the seniors' homes up on Devere. I'm ecstatic that we're having these new bus routes, new hours, Sundays. I think that's all terrific. But we do need the infrastructure. We do need those bus shelters.
Thank you, Councillor Twill. Just out of curiosity, when you said that you were chairing it and you asked for it, what was the answer you got back? You had asked for shelters already?
Yeah, here's what I got back. Can't purchase one. It's too expensive. We're going to wait till we purchase a bunch of them. So, it was postponed for a year. And, so when I heard 10 new bus shelters, I automatically assumed they were going to be brand new bus shelters. And when we went through the budget process, I was happy with that.
Okay. So you were told you told us here you were getting 10 new bus shelters? Is that what you're saying?
When we had the discussion here,
Okay.
during the capital projects, it was stated we were getting 10 new bus shelters. And then I found out earlier tonight, we're not getting 10 new bus shelters, we're getting seats.
That's right.
For
Seats-
the
seats for
existing
the
bus
bus shelters.
shelters. Yeah, so could you put that back in your committee's agenda to see what can be done to acquire new bus shelters, because the community has asked for them?
Yeah, I think that there was some discussion on that, Councillor Twill. We were looking to purchase in bulk. They are pretty expensive, so we were looking to do bulk. So we will be looking to purchase bus shelters. It's just that we want to get the best bang for the buck. We know we're going to need more shelters for the expansion of the transit system. But right now, you're right. What's in the capital budget is for the benches for the shelters. But we will be discussing getting some more shelters in the future.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
But hopefully not too long.
No.
Like, the information I have is be another year. Like, to be honest with you, we can't wait another year. Some of these seniors need access to the bus shelters now. So, again, thank you for putting it on the agenda, and hopefully something can happen.
Yeah, no, okay, we'll talk to staff about that and see what we can do.
Great, thank you.
And Councillor Bernard, just another issue, Sustainable Procurement Action Plan, that's part of your package. Just take a look at that. I want to thank Jessica and your department for putting that together. That's a big step forward in mitigating climate change and adaptation. Okay, that's it. Go ahead.
Step forward. I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of times when we go for tender and you take the lowest price, and it's not always the best product that you can do. And I know some of the examples that we talked about, probably one of the better examples is when you're buying fleet and the electric vehicles we talk about are more expensive than some of the gas or diesel ones. But as we know now, we've had our 2 electric cars for a year. They were secondhand when we bought them. No maintenance required on them for a year. We've only put winter tires on them. And I think I mentioned here before about down the States, there was a police department that outfitted all their police vehicles with electric vehicles. It was more expensive at the initial purchase. But the report now is that the amount they've saved on repairs, oil, gas, that has surpassed, and they're into the savings now. And I believe that's 6 months after they purchased them. So this year, we'll look at a lot of that. That's why it's case by case. They'll look to review and see what's better, what's more sustainable, and what's better for the city in the long run. So thank you again for bringing that up. The staff do deserve credit. It's a good project.
Great staff, and just want to say something there, Councillor Bernard. When we went down to St. Peter's for the semi-annual Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities meeting, the semi-annual meeting, I think 6 of us or 5 of us took the 2 electric cars. No cost to the city for gas purchases. We didn't have to submit any mileage. So savings to the city corporation. Oh, it's all adding up. Okay. Strategic priorities, communications, and intergovernmental cooperation. Councillor Beck. No, I don't. Go ahead there, Councillor Beck.
I'll let you off easy on that one. The Strategic Priorities, Communications and Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee met on Thursday, February 23rd, and the draft minutes are attached. There are no resolutions for your consideration, and if there are any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you.
Councillor McCabe.
Thanks for your report, Councillor Beck. More comment again is I'm very excited to see the strategic plan that was in our package tonight. And I just, I want to highlight when we look at and make sure that, you know, we're saying that when we think ahead to Charlottetown, what we'll be like, we're envisioning bustling green spaces, streets canopied with trees, and vibrant waterfront, active transportation, integrated technology, serving blah, blah. And I'm reminding us all as we're going into new initiatives and stuff, is this is our lens that we really want to make sure we're taking into account. And it ties into the last report we've just heard about how we need to continue to progress with sustainability and making sure that we're doing our part as a council and as a city. But it's excellent, and thank you for getting that out.
Yeah, thank you for that, Councillor McCabe. And again, I had referenced the work of the department beforehand, and I love the fact that we're going to be receiving quarterly reports. There will be yearly aggregates. The graphics, the tables are very easy to follow. The legends are all explained in the back. And if we're looking for things to keep us on task with, I think the way this is laid out is very well done. And it becomes not just a document that will be collecting dust in the shelf, but will actually be revisited on a regular basis. So I think it's good.
Councillor Twill.
Thank you for your report, Councillor Beck. Councillor Beck, I think your committee is responsible for the Municipal Government Act. I believe so. Does that come under?
I don't think that falls under his terms of reference.
Oh, I'm sorry, Norman. I thought it did.
No.
Who's it fall under?
MGA, I think that falls, that's a good question.
I could have bet the farm that I fell
Donna?
under.
I'm not sure, I'd have to check the list. I don't have the.
Okay, but ask your question.
Well, I think now, after we've had 4 or 5 years of the new Municipal Government Act, I think we need to do a thorough examination of the Municipal Government Act, the divisions of power, for example. It is under? Yeah, I thought so. Again, please, if you could take this back to your committee. I'd like to thoroughly examine the Municipal Government Act, the divisions of power. This isn't regarding you, Donna, as our CAO, but you know, the power that the CAO has. This is not about you, Donna. This is about the position, okay? So I want to make that clear. This is about the position itself and how much power that the chief administrative officer has, not just in this municipality, but in municipalities across the province. And if you go back to the Charlottetown Area's Municipality Act, that's what it was, Donna. There seemed to be a dramatic shift, and that dramatic shift took place as a result of a process that had taken place over a 5-year period where CAOs and mayors were in attendance, but councillors weren't permitted to participate in the process. At the time, and I think, Donna, you can recall this, I spoke out against that because I felt that as the decision makers, we should be sitting at the table, and we weren't at the table. And I believe now is the time to look at the Charlottetown Area's Municipalities Act, and maybe we might want to make some recommendations as to what powers council has, what powers the CAO has. To have council just decide on who the CAO is, and the rest of the power given to the CAO, I don't agree with that. Philosophically, I don't agree with that because there's too much power. I believe that as elected officials, we should have a say and participate when it comes to new positions or new hirings, for example, like our fire chief, our chief of police, manager of public works, all of those. Councillors used to participate in the past, and I think we need to participate in the future. So I want you to bring that back to your committee, Councillor Beck, and have that discussion, and we need to go through a process to after what we've experienced over the last 4 years, we need to do a thorough review and examination and evaluation, and I believe we need to make some recommendations to the provincial government to make some changes to the Municipal Government Act. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Beck.
Thank you for that, Councillor Tweel. I wouldn't disagree with you in principle. I think with our new CAO coming on, the timing could be appropriate. And I'm a bit of a rule follower, so I like to follow processes, whatever they might be. I would think it would be a good time. I'm always open for analysis, discussion, review, looking at it and tweaking where necessary. The one thing I would ask you, maybe if you could just send me some information in terms of maybe a little specifics in terms of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then I can take that to our, because I am actually meeting on Thursday. We have a preliminary meeting of stuff. So anyway, no, it's just with me. So if you could get that to me, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, nothing to do with you, Donna. You're doing a great job, Donna. Okay, we're going to be moving on. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Councillor Beck. I believe it's Finance, Audit, Tendering, Administration, Councillor John McAleer.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Finance, Audit, Administration, and Tendering Committee last met on February 10th for their regular meeting. Those minutes are included in your package for that meeting. I don't know if there's any questions come out of those minutes. If there's not,
No?
continue on.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there's one resolution that it says here that's anticipated to be circulated, and this is going to be the presentation of the 2023-2024 capital budget for the city. Continue. Yeah. Your Worship, members of council and residents, as chair of the Finance Committee, I'm pleased to bring forward our 2023-2024 capital budget. A high level of collaboration has gone into putting this budget together, and I'd like to recognize the committee chairs, the department heads, and senior staff who have contributed to the presentation of the major projects we have before you tonight. The past fiscal period presented unique challenges with the COVID-19 pandemic impacting the supply chain and project rollout, followed by none other than post-tropical storm Fiona, leaving us with the aftermath of the most costliest and most intense tropical or post-tropical cyclone in Canada's history. As a result, there are significant carry-forward amounts for important capital projects not yet completed. Moving forward, the City of Charlottetown is striving to invest and plan for sustainable municipal infrastructure. Infrastructure which meets the current and future needs of the municipality and its residents. And I believe that this is reflected in this budget. The combined 2023-2024 net capital budget for the City of Charlottetown and the water and sewer utility is a combined total of $65,656,741. And when I say combined, the two breakouts of that are the City of Charlottetown. For the City of Charlottetown, it's a total of $58,661,576, and the net for the water and sewer utility is $6,995,165 for a combined total of $65,656,741. $741. And at this amount, almost 50% of capital project funding is coming from external partners, which significantly lessens the city's cost burdens. The city's utility department, water and sewer, that is, capital spending reflects the importance of working in synergy with public works as we continue to replace infrastructure both above and below ground. Some of the major projects we're excited to bring forward include construction of a new Simmons Sports Center on North River Road, Phase 1 of the University Avenue redevelopment, the continuation of the Eastern Gateway Plan, the purchase of emergency measures generators in key city locations for reception centers, active transportation pathway construction throughout the city, and planning to expand our transit services, including the purchase, our transit things expanding, including the purchase of seven fully electric buses. Your Worship, as Chair of the Finance, Audit, and Tendering Administration Committee, I move the adoption of the Cities of Charlottetown's 2023-2024 capital budget as presented. Thank you.
Councilor Ron?
Thank you.
Just 1 second.
Mayor Brown, and thank you for your effort and your work on this, Councillor McAleer. You know, when we met last week, there was some numbers that had to be adjusted, and when I look at the numbers compared to the numbers that we were in discussion last week, I noticed there's a significant amount coming out of the multipurpose trails, which is cost shared funding. I'm wondering, you know, who made that decision? You know, we were talking that we were trying to keep the budget low and comparable to last year's capital budget. And I just, you know, when I sit here and I look at the numbers, you know, we were ready to approve last week, but they've changed significantly. So that's one question. And you brought it to the attention here that we had significant projects carry over, and to me, that's kind of has to stop. So if we look at a project now, and we discussed it with our managers, they look at a certain amount that they want and need and feel that we should do moving forward, but we can't get the funding, or we can't get the projects completed. So it gets carried over from last year to this year, and then we add interest onto it. So, you know, I just, my question was why did it come out of the multipurpose trails? And also, I would like, you know, and I sit on the committee and I'm learning lots, and we have a new lady there. She's very intelligent. So where is the capital budget from the last 3 years moving forward, like the carryovers? I know maybe this is not the appropriate time to ask for this, but it's just something that we can meet this week on our operational budget. But I just, you know, can you answer some of that question about the multipurpose trails?
Councilor McAleer.
Okay. Yeah, just to be clear, I guess to put a number on the multipurpose trail that's allocated for this budget, Councillor Downing, and as you say, you know, you do sit on finance as well. The multipurpose trail total that I see allocated here for this 23-24 budget is $3,608,900. So there is a fair amount of resources going into multipurpose trail. As for the tweaking of that, I'll pass that on to the chair, or CAO, Don Odell, to speak to. And as for the carry forward, I know that's been talked about as well, and probably there'll be, I anticipate maybe some changes in how we account for budgets going forward. But again, CAO may speak to that in further detail. Thank you.
You will, excuse me, you will recall, Councillor, at the beginning of our meeting last week, there was an apparent error in the documents that were in front of you, and that there was one trail that was accounted for that had already been completed. So that's where that, and when we were back the next day, what it was indeed, Councillor McCabe was correct. That one had been done, so $780,000 was taken off that, So that's why that change was made. We had that discussion just earlier in the evening, that evening. Maybe it was even before the meeting started, I'm not sure.
No, it was during the meeting.
Was it?
Yeah.
So that's where that change came from on that one.
780,000.
Yes.
And then, Donna?
Yes, Your Worship?
It was still there when you and I looked at it for the final revision, and then it was taken out. So if you look at what we talked about last week, it was 109,741,423. So mine is that's why I have 108,906. That's your total.
Yep.
Councillor Cron.
And that makes perfect sense. That was, but when I see it here, I didn't have an explanation for it, right? So that's why I was wondering where that came from or why. But that's perfect. Thank you very much.
And with respect to the carryovers, that's, we always use the example of Simmons as a project that we can't get all done in 1 year. So that's why we have carryovers in for a lot of those projects, is that, and the accountants require us to budget the whole project. We just can't budget what we think we're going to get done this year.
Okay.
And then there were other examples, and I was thinking about Water Street. We had planned to do a project down on Water Street last year, but because of Fiona, we didn't get to do the project, and then it was a cleanup, and all of our staff involved, we didn't. So that's another, what we call a carryover, is on that project.
Councillor Bernard?
Thank you, Worship. The only other thing I want to add was, whenever a project does get carried over, if the project didn't get started, we're not paying any interest on that money because we didn't use it. So until a project started,
that's when we draw the
so
interest.
it's not like we go out and borrow this $56 million, $65 million, and sitting there we're paying interest, not until we do the actual project. So,
Councillor McAleer?
Forgive me, I'm just being clear, and I'm sure everybody's read their package, but on the back of the resolution for this budget is a little more detailed breakout of, and I trust everybody's had a peek at that.
Okay. Question?
Your Worship, I didn't read the resolution.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
Okay, just to let you know.
Councillor Twill?
I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you, Councillor McAleer, as your first budget. And as the Chair of Finance, I think you explained it very well. So congratulations. I'm somewhat enthusiastic about this budget for a couple of reasons. One is we're back to our plan of Parks and Recreation, constructing outdoor multi-purpose rinks. And this year we're going to be constructing one at Mulberry Park. So I'm very excited about that, and really excited about the discussion surrounding multi-purpose pathways. We're going to have a multi-purpose pathway finally on Towers Road. People in that part of Sherwood has been requesting this for the last 4 or 5 years, and there's been a lot of frustration over the last 4 or 5 years. But finally, with this new multi-purpose pathway, it's going to be a lot safer for the residents, whether it be the students at the University of Prince Edward Island that commute down Towers Road to go to the university, get on the rails trails and commute to the university, seniors that get down to the shopping centers. It's fantastic news. So I want to thank everyone here for supporting that, the Public Works Committee. But again, Councillor McAleer, good job.
Yes, and thanks to the Chair of Public Works, Councillor McCabe. She pushed that Towers Road issue too, so thank you. Okay, John, Councillor McAleer, you want to close up, or?
Yeah, or thank you, Councillor Twill, for those comments. Appreciate it. Just on this, and this, I could have maybe left this comment for the Parks and Recreation piece, but just want to say, had a great email from a resident just that lives, that's got a bird's eye view of the facility, the outdoor rink behind West Royal Community Centre. She just said, she said, just out of the blue, just said, John, wanted to send you this message. I see this going on all the time. The rink is used heavily. There's people on it all the time. She just said, it's just, and her words were, and I meant to kind of have it almost verbatim, but anyway, I didn't copy it down. It's on my phone. I can't take my phone. She said, But
I'm leaving it in your desk.
But again, her last 3 or 4 comments were on. She said, "John, it's just absolutely awesome to see the activity and how much it's utilized, and it's just great. So thanks to Park and Recreation and that budget. I think it's money well spent in these parts of the city. Thank you.
Thank you there, Councillor McAleer. You want to read the?
Sure. Moved by Councillor McAleer, seconded by Councillor McCabe. The council adopt the 2023-2024 city capital budget in the amount of $961,423 minus partner funding of $50,299,847. The city's budget allocation before partner funding of $35,980,859 for Parks and Recreation, $41,909,660 for Public Works, $250,346 for Police, $4,130,814 for Fire and Emergency Preparedness, $22,758,050 for Transit, $925,341 for Community Sustainability, $815,000 for Information Technology, $845,000 for Kerry, and $1,346,352 for Eastlink Centre. And that council adopt the 2023-2024 capital budget for the Charlottetown Water and Sewer Corporation in the amount of $14,375,000 minus partner funding at $7,379,835. And further, that staff be authorized to tender projects and return to council for approval of issuance of long-term debt associated with the capital expenditure program at the appropriate time when funds are required.
Donna, well done reading that. Okay. Question? All those in favor, please put up your hand. Deputy Mayor Yankoff, yea or
The
nay?
system has detected that a few
Probably
lines
left.
are still connected to the conference.
Is that you, Alana?
and
Is that
will
your
attempt
robotic
to
voice?
disconnect
That's your
them.
robotic
If you
voice.
wish to remain in the conference, please press star 1. 15.
Alana, are you there?
I am here and I approve the budget.
Thank you.
capital budget.
Thank you. 10-0. Thank you, Councillor McAleer, for your first budget, capital budget, and we'll be looking for the operational in the near future. Thank you. Okay. Next one is Human Resources and Councillor Justin Matar.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Human Resource Committee had a special meeting on February 21st, 2023, and a regular meeting on March 7th, 2023. The minutes of the meeting are included in your package, and there are no resolutions for council's consideration at this time. If there's any questions, I will gladly try to answer them or defer to Emily. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you kindly. Okay. Okay, Protective and Emergency Services Committee, I have Councillor McKinnon.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Protective Emergency Services, we met on February 28th. Minutes are included in your package. An email was circulated to the committee members in regard to attached property cleanups, a resolution, and the consensus of the committee was to forward to council for consideration the resolution. People have been asking me about when the resolution comes out by an email, it's just giving us PID numbers. So moving forward, is it possible to get more information for us per PID? Whether it's how many letters were given out, how many site visits were giving out, what the steps happened prior to going to the resolution for the cleanup, and what the debris is there. I'm getting those questions, so that's why I'm bringing that forward. Bring it to committee.
Donna?
I'm sure the deputy has made a note of that, and we'll make sure we get that out to you in the future.
So we do have one resolution for the consideration.
Okay. Yep.
Moved by Councillor McKinnon and seconded by Councillor Ramsay, that the Public Works Manager be authorized to remove any garbage and other materials or debris, clean up and properly dispose of same at the owner's expense at the following properties located at 6 Pond Street, PID number 357467, 345 Euston Street, PID number 364539, 7 Warburton Drive, PID number 720391, 304 Fitzroy Street, PID number 352591, 5 Bendella Drive, PID number 1006543, 28 Ann Avenue, PID number 1142116-0, in accordance with the terms of the dangerous, hazardous, and unsightly bylaws of the City of Charlottetown.
Questions called? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Deputy? Mayor Yankoff, yea or nay?
In favor, in favor.
Councillor Twill.
Deputy Chief Combs, wanted to bring to your attention, and I'm sure you heard about the meeting that was held last Monday night at Birchwood Junior High School. It would have been advantageous to have a senior member of the management team attend that meeting. There's a lot of issues that were raised at that meeting concerning safety and security of the neighborhoods. And I think, excuse me, I think you need an inventory of those issues, yourself and your colleagues. And I believe now is the time to, excuse me, to devise or develop a plan of action to deal with some of these concerns that are were very illustrative at that meeting. There's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of fear, a lot of intimidation, a lot of illegal activities that are taking place in this section of the city because of these facilities. It's not going away, it's escalating, and I'm not sure. I'll talk to some of the organizers that were involved to see if they can have a thumbnail sketch of all of the issues that were raised, but I really believe that the department has to become fully aware. I'm sure you are aware, but even more aware of what's taking place there, and maybe a game plan to go in there and go in with zero tolerance, and really send a message to the community that that we want our communities and neighborhoods to be truly safe and truly secure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Twill, can you direct that to the chair?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Chair, can you?
Sorry about that.
Can you answer that, sir?
I will defer that to the deputy chief.
Your worship, we would take that, Councillor, we take that under advisement. Like you were saying, we are quite aware of all the situations that are going on down there. We do have our community wellness team very active in that area, along with some other areas in the city that you're familiar with, as well as our mental health unit is in those areas as well. We are aware of the situation, and we take what you're saying under advisement for sure.
Just quick follow-up there,
Yeah,
Councillor.
thank you, Deputy Chief Combs, or through the chair. But, and what I'd like to recommend is that some type of communique goes out to the community. You know, there's 10, 15 block radius down there, or even more. And a communique to communicate directly with the residents, the department, yourself and Deputy Chief Karen and the Chief of Police and all resources to really send a message that we're not only aware, but we have a game plan and we're going to deal with it and deal with it effectively and efficiently and again, that zero tolerance, because that meeting was very telling. There was a lot of testimony, a lot of compelling presentations that were made at that meeting. And some of us who were there heard it unequivocally crystal clear. So I wouldn't be doing the residents, I'd be doing the residents a disservice if I didn't bring up some of the emotions that were discussed at that meeting. Thank you.
Councillor McKinnon? You're good? Yeah. I know that Councillor Matert was at the meeting, myself, Councillor Beck, Councillor McCabe, the Deputy Mayor. A lot of focus was on that 33 Belmont Street, but again, your work there, Councillor Matert, along with the province, told that there be no 33 Belmont Street. Councillor McAleer?
Worship, just to Councillor McKinnon, just on the pending fire study, I assume that's a work in progress, waiting on it. My maybe right in understanding, expecting that that's something that your department chief will have maybe in June or July, or is there a target date for that? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McAleer, for bringing up that question. Yes, I had discussions with Chief Mamie recently about that, and we're still waiting eagerly for that report to come back in June or July for that underwriter study to hear what they have to say and what we're going to do. Chief Mamie, if you have anything to add.
Thank you, Chair, Your Worship. Excuse me. With the study, at this point, they're gathering all the information that's required to make the study. So they're getting all the building stock in the city. They're checking all of our utilities and waterways. They're calculating all of that. They have to do required fire flows for all of our major occupancies. So they will actually be on the island as a group in through April, May. They'll pick a week in there and they'll come over and do all their tests. But between now and then is when they're compiling all that information. They've reached out to our water department and our Parks and Rec and our Public Works Department as well as fire.
Thank you for that update.
Yeah, Councillor Matard?
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I just want to say I agree with Councillor Tweel in regard to his comments around, additional policing and continued policing services in and around our areas like the Outreach Center and Park Street. I have been in communication with the Chief of Police regarding additional patrols and policing in and around Park Street and the surrounding area. And of course, my concerns were well noted with Belmont Street. And as Councillor Tweel indicated, up around the Outreach Center. So again, I'm here, Mr. Chair, to ask for those continued efforts, some additional supports if necessary, through additional policing hires if possible, or working with the provincial government as well to ensure that we have those proper supports in place and continued efforts. Thank you.
Councillor McKinnon?
Thank you, Councillor Matard, for that. I have had discussions with Chief McConnell, and they are trying to do their best with the, I think, 3,500 extra calls last year alone with the resources that they have. But I will have more discussions with McConnell as in his return.
Councillor Bernard?
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor McKinnon, I'm just wondering, so I hear there's a new fire report out now, updating the, I assume this is the insurance regulators report that we're talking about? Is that correct? Underwriters report? Yeah. So am I to understand that we're starting again from a blank sheet? And so where we intended to put the Station 3 may not go there? Is that an understanding?
I
That could
believe
change?
I don't believe we're starting it from a blank sheet, but we are waiting for the survey, the underwriter's report to come to us and tell us what they recommend. So
So we're
whether it's
starting
gonna
from a
be a
blank sheet
Station
then?
2 or 3.
Well, we must be starting from a blank sheet if we're waiting for a report to come back, and it could easily say the location you have now, and I'm hearing rumors that that may not be the location. So
I can't
but it's
speculate on
rumors right now,
rumors.
so what I'm trying to figure out is, are we starting from scratch again on the possibility of a third station? If there's going to be a third station, there's talk of Station 1 or Station 2 closing. So I assume we're doing this report again because the old one, I think the old one was what, 10, 11 years old?
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the
Yeah.
first report.
Yeah.
So sounds to me like we're starting from scratch to see what the underwriter's report say. So it may not, so everything may change. Is that
Well,
correct?
Everything is subject to change to the report.
Yeah,
Correct.
we'll have to wait for the report.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Okay.
Chief Mamie, would you like to
Chief?
speak to that?
Thank you, Chair and Your Worship. The report everybody's talking about, the original report was 2006, which was the fire underwriter survey, and 2007 for a fire location study. Obviously, things have changed in our city since 2006 and 2007, just like all of the departments who are trying to update their processes and policies, we're doing the same. So what the fire underwriter survey looks at is what you have existing today and also 10 to 15 years out, just like our growth management study, just like our official plan. Fire, obviously, that looks after life safety is no different to that. So we're looking for data-driven evidence as well to make our decisions. It's not a pick and a poke. We're waiting for all the information that comes back to us. We're not starting from scratch. We already have the information from 2006. Most of the reports between now and then have been updates on the 2006, which is still using the material and the data gained from 2006. So we're updating that and getting a fresh look at it from the fire underwriters.
Councilor Bernard.
Okay, so my fear is, and I guess we'll have to wait till the report comes, but my fear is there's a move out there to close Station 2, one way or another. And I guess with the explosion of new homes and residents out in the East Rowley, the growth, I hope that's taken into consideration. And I guess the other thing is I would ask is, I'm not sure if council knows how much that Station 2 costs us, but it costs us nothing. We pay $1 for it from the government, and they're volunteer firefighters. So that station costs us next to nothing compared to what Station 1 and Station 3 is going to cost us. So I hope this is not an exercise to find ways to close Station 2.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess the devil's in the results once we get the report in.
And Councillor McKinnon, these are just recommendations for the fire. The final decision rests with us. Councillor Drawn.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Thank you, Councillor McKinnon and Chief Mamie. And I applaud looking into this. Never once did I ever hear that we're going to close Station 2. I talked to a lot of the membership down there. They're quite happy. They do an awesome job. The station's top notch. I've never heard of a threat of closing Station 2, and I just don't want to, just to be respectful to Councillor Bernard, I don't want to put that out there and having people thinking that we're waiting a report because we're going to close it. There's a community there that does a tremendous job. They're well knowledged in where they have to go to respond to fires or calls. It's fabulous to walk there and talk to some of them. They take such great pride in that station. So I just don't want to see any of us, put any thought process out there that we're closing that. So please be cautious of what we say. And thanks again for your report.
I don't think that's the intent of what you're saying. I think you're just hearing reports, but again, I don't think that's being projected here from City Hall. I think we're just concerned about why another study, correct? Is that your point?
Well, I think if you read the media and you read the reports, you'll see that was one of the things they're talking about is closing Station 2. So it's not like we're just putting it out there tonight. That's been in the media reports. So, and I think I was flabbergasted when I read it because I thought all the decisions were made. Tenders were going out. We had money in the budget to build a station. Now, I can understand if the new chief wants to do a reevaluation because it's been for quite a while. But I am concerned, no question. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Deputy Chief. Next report, Parks, Recreation, and Leisure Activities. Councillor Mitchell Tweel.
Thank you. Members of council, pleased to submit the report on behalf of the Parks and Recreation Leisures Committee. We have 3 resolutions for council's consideration. And if there's any questions, I'll do my best to answer. Thank you.
Okay. Donna, can we just get you to read, and if there's some questions, they can ask them after, Councillor Tweel, they can ask them after the resolutions.
Moved by Councillor Tweel and seconded by Councillor Bernard, that the required additional professional services from DSRA Architecture for the Simmons Sports Centre Arena and Pool Replacement Project in the amount of $439,463 plus applicable taxes be accepted, and that the mayor and CAO are hereby authorized to execute standard contracts and agreements to implement this resolution.
Okay. Councillor Tweel, you want to speak to it first, and then Councillor
Speak to the resolution to the first one? Yes. And I want to thank our manager, Frank Quinn, for the preparation of the notes. Thank you, Frank. Resolution 1, required additional DSRA professional services for the Simmons project. During the planning phases, delivery and implementing of this project, we have faced with many challenges, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, supply chain delays, availability of contractors, and the recent high inflation. These external factors have had a major impact and effect on our ability to move this project forward, causing design and tendering delays and impacting the budget costs at all levels, from tender awards to professional consulting fees. As it relates to professional consulting fees, consulting services, DSRA is requiring a substantial increase to their consulting fees to continue with the managing of the Simmons Sports Center project. It was noted that the justification for the required increase to the consulting fees relates to the project delivery, project schedule, and economic inflation. The proposed total additional professional service amount requested is $439,463, plus applicable taxes. These are significant increases to the DSRA architects consulting fees, but due to the project delays and the city's change in approach to go with the multiple tenders, therefore, DSRA dealing with multiple contracts rather than a single contract, these additional services are required. An overview of breakdown and reasoning for the proposed increases are explained in the backgrounder attached to the resolution. Thank you.
Okay. Question? Questions called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Deputy Mayor, yay or nay?
In favor.
Okay. Want to go to the next one, Donna?
Yes, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Tweel and seconded by Councillor Bernard. So the amount of $33,143.75 plus applicable taxes for change orders 3 and 4 relating to the rink engineering specialty services for Simmons Sports Centre Arena and pool replacement from IB Story Inc. be accepted, and that the mayor and CAO are hereby authorized to execute standard contracts and agreements to implement this resolution.
Okay. Councillor Tweel, you want to speak to it?
Yep. Resolution 2, IB Story, additional redesign costs for Simmons project. In December 2022, DSRA proposed design changes to the atrium and the multi-purpose room areas that would result in an estimated cost savings of $150,000. These changes were also deemed to improve the aesthetic look of the building around the entrance. We were informed by IB Story that there will be significant design changes required to be made to the HVAC systems in these areas, and there would be additional fees required to be charged. At the time, the amount was unknown. It was decided by staff in consultation with DSRA and IB Story to proceed with these changes. IB Story put forward the two change orders totaling $33,143.75 plus taxes. Staff reviewed and deemed them to be a fair price for the redesign work to be completed. Thank you.
Okay. Questions called? All those in favor? Deputy Mayor? Yay or nay?
In favor.
10-0.
In favor.
Want to read that one too, Donna?
Sure, Your Worship. Moved by Councillor Twill and seconded by Councillor Bernard. That as per the recently advertised tender for Simmons Sports Centre Arena and Pool Replacement, Tender Package 7, Specialised Rink Mechanical System, the City accepts the bid of $5,896,000 plus applicable taxes from entire mechanical contractors, and that the Mayor and CAO are hereby authorised to execute standard contracts and agreements to implement this resolution.
Okay. Oh, Councillor Twill wants to just give an explanation, oral explanation. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Resolution 3,
Yeah.
award of tender package number 7, specialized rink mechanical systems.
Yes.
Tender was recently advertised and closed on March the 3rd, 2023. 2 bids were received. The low bid from the entire mechanical contractors meet the requirements of the tender and is deemed to be a fair market price. It was noted that the bid price, $5,896,000, is around 30% of the $1.5 million higher than what was initially budgeted back in June 2022 for this portion of the project. But the increase can be attributed to inflation. For example, material prices are up 30%. Summary of the work includes HVAC systems for the entire building, refrigerator plant for ice mechanical equipment and controls, provide automation equipment, sensors and controls, provide dasher board systems and connect to floor, provide electrical wiring, conduit and labor to connect, and finally provide new concrete rink floor pads with floor piping. Thank you.
Well read there, Councillor. Thank you very much.
I want to thank Frank. Thank you.
Okay. Frank? Thank you, Frank. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Oh, good, good. Some questions from the floor. Right on. John McAleer. Mr. Councillor John McAleer.
No, I was just curious on the bids, like entire mechanical, $5,896,000, and then Fitzgerald and Snow Snecken, $9,135,000. Like, Frank, what would?
No, you have to go through the chair.
Oh, to the chair. Sorry.
No problem.
That's all right, John. You go to Frank.
Hey. Are they bidding on the same thing?
Yeah, they are.
Sometimes
Yeah.
we wonder, but no, but it's just the way it is. They might have threw in their bid, and entire mechanical contractors. This is sort of their area of expertise and whatnot. So yeah, I can't exact explain. It's just
Yeah, no,
bids we received.
3.2 million difference. It's huge. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, but John, entire mechanical, they do HVAC. Fitz and Snow would have to hire someone to do the HVAC, so they put a cost plus to it. Councillor.
That's why you go to
Bernard.
tender, I guess.
Councillor Bernard.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to point out that in the report, I see Walter McEwen was in and made a presentation looking for more ball fields, and I think we talked about it a few times. I just wanted to highlight, because I know...
No, we're just talking about the resolution.
oh, I thought, yeah, okay.
No, we have to vote on the resolution. Councillor Beck, and then you come back to it, Councillor Durant.
Thank you.
Councillor Bernard.
I had the same kind of question, but sometimes I know that we've seen in recent submissions or tender approvals where we have not looked at a particular company because it might not have been realistic in terms of their ability to execute on with the price that was all given and that sort of thing. I assume that everything is okay here in terms of entire mechanical contractors. You feel you're confident that their ability to deliver at that price is a reasonable expectation? Just because I know that, and again, I'm fairly new to this, but I did see a couple of times where we did not go that way because we felt that it wouldn't be a reasonable expectation that they could have delivered at that price. So looking at this particular submission, you're comfortable that they will be able to execute as prescribed, given that there's such a distinct difference in the prices between the two of them. Thank you, Frank.
Is he all right?
Or, sorry, I'll
Councillor
defer
Twill?
that to
Is
Frank.
all right, Councillor Twill? Okay, Councillor Twill, thank you, Councillor Twill.
Your Worship, Councillor Beck, yes, we are confident. IB Story is our expert firm that we have hired, and they've reviewed the bids, and they did up the actual tender package for us and everything, and entire mechanical contractors have a very good reputation in
They
the
also-
HVAC system.
They also did the Rustico rink.
Yes,
The HVAC,
correct.
which is a fairly big project. And that's their business. Question? All those in favor? Deputy?
In favor, Your Worship.
Okay. Councillor Bernard, do you have a question?
Minister, I was just going to say that it was good to see Walter McEwen come in. He spoke on baseball about the need for fields and that we're getting behind. And I know we've talked about it here before where we know the Charlottetown, I mean, the West Raleigh, East Raleigh, we're all seeing that population explosion and we know we're going to need some more sport fields. But when they start knocking on the door wanting to come in and talk about it, it just goes to show, like, I know that they're behind in baseball fields, they're behind in soccer fields, we're behind in rugby fields, we don't have a cricket field. And I hope those are things that we're looking at towards the future. I know the capital budget had sport field complex development, which is great. But when I say we're behind, we're not up to par where we should be for the population we have now. And we know with the growth that's going on, we're going to be further behind unless we get on this right away.
Yep.
So, like I said, I know Sherwood's two fields short. I know West Raleigh was one field short. We know about the rugby, they have one field. So and that's just what I know of. In the cricket, they don't have a field. So anyway, I think it's something that we do have to be serious about and look at. So, thank you.
Nope, they're on the radar there, Councillor Twill, right? Yep. Yep. Well, we're down to new business. Seeing no new business, I just want to thank you for getting a budget through for capital year 23-24. So managers can start going out to do some tendering on the projects that we're about to start or the ones that we're continuing. I need a resolution to adjourn. Moved by Councillor McCabe, second by Councillor Beck. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
In favor.